What I've always found fascinating about America is the fact that nature right here on this continent is so diverse. I'm from LA, so everything is usually desert-like, but right now I'm in Oregon and everything is so green and lush, and I'm just so happy to be climbing up this mountain and looking at all of this beautiful green nature. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. In today's episode we are in the beautiful state of Oregon, and Oregon is a really gorgeous state because it has a lot of beautiful nature, and yes, it's due to the fact that there's quite a lot of rain in this area, but today it's a beautiful day. And in this episode what we are actually going to be visiting are the Multnomah Falls, which are the tallest falls in the state of Oregon, and there's a nice little hiking trail that leads up to it, and yet it's just a really beautiful area. So without any further ado, let's explore. Multnomah Falls is a waterfall located on Multnomah Creek in Oregon. Fed by underground springs from Larch Mountain, the flow over the falls varies, but is usually highest during winter and spring. This is also one of the best places in the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area to study geology exposed by floods. The waterfall is accessible from the historic Columbia River Highway and Interstate 84, and parking for the falls has a reservation fee of $2 from late May to early September. Then it's completely free for the rest of the year. Once parked, there's a small Oregon travel information kiosk which has a bunch of interesting info on the Multnomah Falls and its surroundings. Even though this area is really beautiful from a nature perspective, I must admit that there are quite a few tourists because when there's beauty, there's a lot of people that want to see it. But with that comes a lot of amenities too, like this little lodge behind me which has some restrooms, so you don't have to go in nature. You have an actual restroom, and then there's a restaurant, there's some snack areas, there's a little exhibit area, and it is convenient to have this kind of stuff. But as I did say, be ready to have quite a lot of people around you because yes, the waterfalls are beautiful, the hike is beautiful, but at the same time it's crowded with so many people. The path leading to the falls is very pleasant and has the Multnomah Creek on one side of it, which is a 5-mile long stream. And its waters flow north to the Columbia River Gorge, over Multnomah Falls, into Benson Lake, and then the Columbia River. Even though the path leading up to the falls show a part of the creek that doesn't have many fish, more up the stream many birds and fish live in and around the creek, with all of them being dependent on the health of the creek. So littering or tampering with the stream is highly dangerous to the ecosystem and should be respected. As mentioned, this waterfall has super easy access. You just have to park your car and walk for maybe about a minute or two, and here you are in front of this gorgeous waterfall. And yes, it is split into two parts. This is the smaller part of the waterfall because there's, the tallest part of the waterfall that goes from the top of the mountain into a basin, and then it goes into another waterfall that leads to another basin. And this is the part that a lot of tourists love to go to because, as I said, it's super easy to get access to, and because of that you're going to have quite a lot of people. But we're going to actually head up a little bit higher, and then I'll show you guys the top part of this waterfall. Unfortunately, because the area is filled with many tourists, getting the real nature feel of the fall isn't really going to happen if you aren't looking to going a little bit up the mountain. Nevertheless, the fall is stupendous and is really impressive from the mere fact that it's so high above. As for the falls themselves, they drop into two major steps, split into an upper fall of 542 feet and a lower fall of 69 feet, with a gradual 9-foot drop in elevation between the two. The two drops are due to a zone of more easily eroded basalt at the base of the upper falls. Even though the basin at the bottom of the fall looks gorgeous, public access to it is blocked, so it can only be enjoyed from afar. This is mostly due to the fact that this area is a nature reserve, and limiting access ensures the safety of the fragile ecosystem. As you guys can see from the sign behind me, there are quite a few little trails that lead to different paths right here at the falls, but we're going to try to go on top of the falls, which is only a 1-mile trail. Yes, there are super long trails, but we don't want to spend the whole day here, and I think that the top of the falls sounds really cool, and if it's the top, there's supposed to be a super cool view, so I'm excited to see that. At the quarter-mile point of this hike, we actually find a bridge, and this viewpoint bridge is really cool because on one side you'll get to see a really beautiful view of the surroundings, but then if you turn to the other side you get to see the beautiful a view of the waterfall and with the water falling from the top of the mountain. It is really, really gorgeous. It really kind of makes you understand how nature is powerful and how small we are compared to this whole beautiful world. The viewing bridge on a paved foot trail is called the Benson Footbridge and is a 45-foot long bridge allowing visitors to cross 105 feet above the lower cascade. This is the best viewing point for the falls, and because of that it gets even more crowded with tourists. What I do admire of this viewpoint is not only the view of the falls, but also the view of the surroundings with the basin at the bottom and seeing as far as the eye can see. This location is also ideal to see the historic train track that still remains active up to this day. One thing that I must say and I really appreciate about this hike is that the higher you go, the less tourists you're going to see. Of course you're going to still see some people, some hikers going up to the top, but at least you'll finally get some quiet, because with the combination of freeway and the noise of the waterfall, it's super noisy right here, but I can assure you the higher you go, the quieter it gets. After the bridge viewpoint of the upper falls, the trail continues to ascend to an elevation of 785 feet. It consists of 11 switchbacks, which reach a forested talus slope of 100 feet above the falls. Typical of a western state, Oregon is home to a unique and diverse array of wildlife. Roughly 60% of the state is covered in forest, while the areas west of the Cascades are more densely populated by forests, making up around 80% of the landscape. Some 60% of Oregon's forests are within federal land. Oregon is the top timber producer of the lower 48 states, and typical tree species include the Douglas fir, which is a state tree, as well as redwood, ponderosa pine, western red cedar, and hemlock. I made it on top of the mountain and it is really, really gorgeous. Once you make it up top right here, you're welcomed by a beautiful stream of water going through rocks and a bunch of trees, and then they even built a viewpoint, which is really cool because, well, you can go to the viewpoint and you can look over the whole beautiful landscape and the Lake Benson that is in front of these waterfalls. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous walk. I really recommend people that come to Oregon to actually make the trip right here, because the hike is not that hard and it's just beautiful. At the end of the trail, the observation deck overlooking the falls' edge provides visitors a bird's eye view of the Columbia Gorge and also of Little Multnomah, a small cascade slightly upstream from the upper falls, which is not visible from ground level. Multnomah Falls is the tallest waterfall in the state of Oregon. It is credited by sign of the site of the falls and by the United States Forest Service as the second tallest year-round waterfall in the United States. Another highlight of the hike is the beautiful views of the Columbia River, which are adjacent to the park and trails. The Columbia River is the largest river in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. The river rises in the Rocky Mountains of British Columbia, Canada. It flows northwest and then south into the U.S. state of Washington and turns west to form most of the border between Washington and the state of Oregon before emptying into the Pacific Ocean. Since we're on the topic of nature and the beauty of Portland, well, I had to show something that is really gorgeous right here. It is Cannon Beach, which is a really, really wide beach right here on the coast of Oregon, and it is really awesome. It's super, super big. There's really sand as far as the eye can see, and it's also part of a city that is really small. It's really what you would expect from a small rural city here in America. And also what I do like about this beach is that they have the Haystack Rock, which is a really popular icon if you're into movies like me, because this is where they shot part of the Goonies. So being in this small little city right here and being on the beach, I kind of feel like I'm visiting the movie set, or I'm part of the movie of the Goonies. So this is honestly kind of cool. You get to see some pop culture stuff, but you also get to see some beautiful nature. Cannon Beach is located in Clatsop County, Oregon. Its population was 1,690 in the 2010 census. The Haystack Rock rises above the ocean at 235 feet and is the third tallest such intertidal structure in the world. The monolithic rock is adjacent to the beach and accessible by foot at low tide. The Haystack Rock tide pools are home to many intertidal animals including starfish, sea anemone, crabs, chitons, limpets, and sea slugs. The rock is also a nesting site for many seabirds including terns and puffins. Composed of basalt, Haystack Rock was formed by lava flows emanating from the Blue Mountains and Columbia Basin about 15 to 16 million years ago. What is now Cannon Beach, as well as the coastal area surrounding it, is part of the traditional territory of the Tillamook tribe. This coastal town really has a distinct character to it, and really feels like it's straight out of a Stephen King book. Even though this area is a bit out of the way from the main city, it really is worth the detour just to see what a small rural town in America looks like. Portland truly is gorgeous with its beautiful nature. We've seen beautiful falls at the Multnomah Falls. We've seen the beautiful beach and also the beautiful Haystack Rock. Yes, it is iconic. But with all of this visiting, I think that this is probably the perfect place to end this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed coming on this visit of Portland, Oregon, and its surroundings. And if you did enjoy it, well, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment too. Let me know what other places I should go and visit in Portland and Oregon, and maybe other states of America, or maybe even other countries. As you guys can see from my videos, I'm always willing to travel. But with that being said, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.